Welcome to Babylon Burn, episode 9. I thought it was episode 8,
Yeah.
but apparently I messed up. This
Oh,
is
we do have
what?
a super secret first episode, so
Oh,
yeah,
I
that
forgot
exists.
about that.
So
That's
oh
why.
yeah, yeah.
Not sure if we should ever air that one, but we'll see.
Mm. I checked it out. I think it's good. So it's
Yeah,
okay.
no, I liked
Yeah.
it. You guys helped me stay. I believe that's when you guys helped me stay awake when I was driving down from Florida.
Yeah, there was a lot of interruptions, and at one point I'm there, and then at one point the Sicilian Chameleon's there, and we're moving around, and yeah. But one of these days, y'all, maybe if we ever have premium content.
Yeah, there
Which
we go.
will yeah, this is already kind of thrown together, and that one was the most thrown together, so see what happens.
And
Maybe
I
we
think
won't get audio problems this time.
I think that last one is what? The secret, super secret episode was, I think, like 3 hours or more.
No, it was just one, maybe two. It
Oh,
wasn't yeah, it wasn't overwhelming, didn't break anything. It'll be there. I'll put it up in Odyssey at some point. um
there we go.
so let's see. What else was I
You
going to say about the housekeeping kind of matters?
oh, none of this is financial advice. None of this is medical advice.
Nor is it legal advice. We're not lawyers, and we're not financiers or medical or anything like that. And real quick on the last week we talked for a minute about crypto rebounding. It rebounded a little bit and just stayed there. It didn't. It's not really rebound. It's probably
It's up
gonna
another
sit here.
7% today, I think, something like that.
It's sitting around 21. It's still an opportunity to buy if you feel like it's going to go up, or if you feel like it's going to keep going down. Stay away from it. I mean,
I I personally I would wait because it was really interesting. Just this is an entire, maybe a side note, but the stock market went up 800 points Friday.
oh, that's cool.
You
I
you
like that.
you would think that whenever there's riots about to start over a Supreme Court decision, that investors would say, "Oh crap, we're going to
Wait,
run and hide."
wait a second. There's going to be riots. I thought that these guys were mostly peaceful and that they never do anything whenever they don't get their way.
They're mostly peaceful, just like um, dang it, what's that guy's face? Um, the guy that killed the lady and her boyfriend,
Whoa.
Owen Simpson.
Oh, Orenthal James Simpson.
No, 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 no. The linebacker or whatever, Bronco
O.J.
Chase,
Simpson.
OJ
Oh,
Simpson. There we go.
yeah,
Uh, the,
Orenthal
the,
James.
the
Yeah.
peaceful riots are just as peaceful as OJ Simpson only had about 30 minutes of violence that night. The rest of the night was mostly peaceful.
Well, we don't know that for sure. It's still alleged,
It's still alleged, even though he wrote a book.
and lost the civil trial.
But I mean, he had a mostly peaceful night allegedly that evening, and
Mostly.
and yes, exactly. And riots have been mostly peaceful. So,
Well, I'm glad that my
oh,
mostly
man.
peaceful nights don't end in a car chase.
Well, there we go. So I believe we were going to do a short intro. For me, at
Oh
least, it's
yeah,
an intro to this idea.
really
Yemen.
quick. I was just listening to part of the problem. This time it was hosted by Robbie, and he had Scott Horton on, and they were talking about 1-833-STOP-WAR, which is a phone number, or you can go to the website 1-833-STOPWAR.com, and you can tell your Congress critter what you think of their dealings in Yemen. And Scott Horton seems to think that this will actually work. I've never seen these phone campaigns actually work, but Scott says that it might do something this time. So if you want to leave your representative a voicemail and say that the United States has no business harming these poor people in Yemen, and they have it really rough. There's a lot of starvation going on there due to the blockades. If you want the United States to not have its hand in causing pain to these people, please get in touch with your representative. Scott seems to think it's going to work, and Scott is pretty well researched and educated on matters of stopping war, and I appreciate him for it. And I think everybody in our kinds of community does.
So tell me just a little bit more about the war in Yemen. I have little glimmers of it. I don't know a whole lot about it.
The United States is backing up Saudi Arabia in Yemen, and that includes a blockade. And so not long before this blockade, they were convinced to start growing crops for export. And so now they have a whole bunch of useful or useless crops for domestic, and they're blockaded. So a lot of people are starving in that country. It's pretty rough. Check out that episode of Part of the Problem. Scott will give you all the background on it, and he is a very resourceful person on all of the matters of U.S. involvement in places where we really shouldn't be.
So just checking, you said that they were encouraged to start creating crops for export.
Right. So they were starting to grow things like coffee instead of grain. And I think, yeah.
So they
I think it puts a big highlight on sorghum and millet, which, it's really rough. It's gross whenever you see the devastation. So if you want to do some internet digging and be really sad about what this country does to other countries, go look up what we're doing in Yemen right now, or what we're involved in. So yeah.
Just in order to clarify for me and other people, basically they were encouraged to grow luxury crops. They got embargoed.
For export to make money, and then they got,
they got embargoed, and now they don't actually have the food that otherwise would have been produced from the same fields. Because the idea would have been, hey, you sell these more expensive goods, you'll be able to buy more, stuff like that. And then all of a sudden they get embargoed. They're stuck with a whole lot of coffee that's most likely going bad and going rotten. They're, the farmers the farmers get screwed. I think farmers are the ones that historically are most screwed by government intervention. Like, it just seems like farmers are the first line of, hey, you're the guys that get screwed first whenever the government gets involved, which is why we prefer limited government.
We're second, that being the people that bring you the stuff that the farmers produce. So and us being truckers. So
you being truckers, but yeah. For me, I'm fascinating. Like I had 2 yards. I was starting to build my lawn care business up again really slowly, and I can't get the parts for my lawn care, but my lawnmower's front right wheel fell off, and I was supposed to get it 3 days after that thing happened. It's been three weeks at this point. Oh, you muted yourself.
Sorry, I heard that there's a rubber shortage. So that could be the reason why your tire's out, but I don't know the ins and outs of that one.
My wheel and spindle fell out.
Okay, so the whole thing. And somebody was saying that we're going to have issues pretty soon here in our industry with tires, because they're not getting enough tires made at this point, and that would be due to a whole bunch of people not working whenever they probably should have been working. So there you go on that. All of these things are going to catch up on us. I'm noticing that places still, whenever I go to check in, that I'll spend extra hours waiting on my trailer to get loaded because they don't have enough staff.
Andy, what are the bars at on your phone?
They look good.
I'm just going to move right quick. I'm going to hide myself for a second, and you introduce our next.
Wait a second. I,
Introduce the next topic. I'm going to hide and
oh,
move because I think I'm being blocked in that service.
oh, okay. Well, everybody knows what the next topic is just because it is dominating the news. The Supreme Court seems to be pretty counter the executive and the legislative branch. Sorry, I'm just sitting here. So our judicial is taking care of the Second Amendment, and so because New York pushed, you know what? I think either we're gonna need a restart or something because I'm floundering over here. I need like somebody to play off. It's just like I don't have a script or anything in front of me, but there you are. Yay! All right.
Well, and so, now I have 3 bars. So apparently my porch is really good at blocking out.
You got a Faraday porch?
I guess so. It was. Actually, yes, it was specifically designed. I didn't want anybody spying on me, obviously.
So when they start sending drones after us, hang out on your porch.
Exactly. That's going to be my next plan.
Right. Fortify the porch.
It's also very small, so I'm going to have to gather together like 15 people to be protected.
Right. So anyway, the Supreme Court rulings from this week, it looks like we had a small victory in the Second Amendment, followed by the most gun legislation that we've ever had getting signed in on Friday. But then we had a big victory for pro-life shortly after. So it looks like the judicial branch is doing us well as far as the Constitution goes, while the executive and legislative is not.
Yeah, but I mean, gun rights are in the Constitution, so
yes,
we're moving in the right direction. Gun rights are in the Constitution, and in my opinion, what they pushed through in the Congress and in the Senate, in the legislative branch, is completely unconstitutional. Whereas abortion is not discussed in the Constitution. And
well,
so
wait a minute. The president said that it is that it's a constitutional right. I hope you saw that, and I hope you saw the thing where he said that America can be summed up in one word.
The one word.
He said gibberish. He just spit a gibberish word out. I have no idea how. Like, yeah. I don't want to go. I don't want to go in this old man's brain. It's probably full of a lot of strange things like sniff that kid, and I'm not into that. I don't want to see what goes on in his head.
On a call back to the last episode, the more I look at that video from him, the more I think that's not a mistake I would have made or you would have made as a cyclist. How did he fall? And then also immediately he gets back and then he goes and talks to a little girl.
Right. Yeah, he did. He was. That's probably why he stopped, because he was stopping whenever it happened, and he was like, "Oh, there's someone to sniff."
Well, well, for him it was like, "Oh, press pull." I was told not to talk to those guys, but there's a little girl there. I need to talk to her. But that's a digression away from the thing. But yeah, we pushed through, in my opinion, a major win. Almost everybody's saying this is a major win because this pushes us back towards rule of law, to where it's not the legislative, not the judicial body creating laws. It's the judicial body upholding laws that were written. If you want to make abortion legal federally, get a supermajority and pass the flipping bill. Don't try to push it through the judicial.
They would have never been able to do that 50 years ago. They had to get activist judges on the bench in order to do it, and they pulled it off. So it happened for a very long time, and now there's a where do we go from here thing, because it, you know, we already have states that have preemptively or already had laws in place to say that this that infanticide, which is what I really think that it should be called. Like, stop calling it abortion. It's infanticide. Just call it what it is. Infanticide is banned in 20, is it 22 states? Is that correct? Or do you have that
I
number
don't
anywhere
know
near?
the
Or
actual
yeah.
number, but it's a below majority. But there's a lot of states that are banning it. I think Florida's at 15 weeks that they passed a little while ago. And basically, basically once this passed, there were tons of laws that were set in to where once it was overturned, and they've been in place sometime in some cases for years, to where once it was overturned, those laws immediately took place and the abortion clinics had to close right away.
So what I think about the left is they really like to have federal power to affect all of the states, because you've got the corrupt states where most of the people in that are the majority Democrat voting blocks, like New York and California, they're already corrupt, and they're okay with infanticide anyway. But then whenever you push infanticide on the middle America states, then eventually the line gets pushed and it becomes like, well, it's okay up until this point or that point. And how did we even get here, though? Like, how did we get to this, that they tried to push the point to a certain number, right?
Yeah.
And that was Virginia wanted to be able to kill babies the second up to before they're born, right?
Pretty much.
And then what state was it? Mississippi?
Mississippi passed a 8 law ban, and so the the progressives massively overstepped. I think even Bill Maher, at one point, a couple, like right after the legislation, the documents were leaked, Bill Maher even discussed the fact that he went over and looked at the European laws, and he went, "Oh crap,
Yeah.
we in America are extreme on abortion laws, like extreme, that we allow it to happen so long. Most of Europe stops it after 15, maybe 18 weeks, almost everywhere, or more strict than that. And then we think that we're behind the ball on being lenient on abortion. It's like, no, we're actually probably the most aggressive country in the world to allow abortions." And so this, to me, is a massive victory, and it's also a massive wake-up call, because people that are actually thinking about it, or actually have the ability to think, it seems, are looking at the situation and going, man, how did we actually do this for so long? This is kind of wrong and sick.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, I was very, even myself, I was super, what, do whatever you want. I'm pro-choice on everything and all that, until I really started to look at this, and then I noticed that also there's a huge overarching agenda of depopulating humanity at this point, and so abortion contributes to that, and then becoming more religious. Like, as far as like a year ago, was right whenever I started getting into Christianity, and it's because of them. Like, really, they woke me up, which is kind of funny, because every single time that they push, they get the opposite effect. So like, so Satan's pushing, and then I'm like, wait a minute, all of this stuff is related to Satan, and I push back the other way. I'm glad this is a big wake up call. This is what's happening at this point. I'm noticing more and more people doing stuff like we're doing right now. A lot of people's opinions have changed on a lot of matters that are evil and corrupt.
And to me, it's really interesting that that aspect is happening in general, that this is causing people to wake up because they're pressing so hard against it. To me, that's a major aspect of what's going on. Um, but the other major thing is that it's allowing us to get more woken up to seeing how overreaching the government has gone, to where the federal government has taken liberties in areas that they're not supposed to take liberties on. They're only supposed to rule and judge on what's in the Constitution. It's not
Right.
that abortion is not in the Constitution. You can't read it into the law. And this is a big win. Like, I'm really interesting to, I think Monday, if I'm not mistaken, is the last day that they can do a ruling before some deadlines. There's some type of deadline. And so apparently Monday we're supposed to see, I didn't put this in the description, but apparently Monday we're supposed to see some type of ruling on the FDA and Congress basically delegating rules to the FDA.
Oh, really? So
Yes.
the Congress is trying to now rule the FDA.
No, Congress has basically for years delegated its responsibilities to the FDA and to other
And
departments in the government that are basically run by what we call the deep state. And they're just basically
okay.
give them authority to create laws rather than actually creating the legislation and laws themselves. And so that's been a roundabout way they've taken
Oh, yeah. This is
state
technocracy.
and given it to the federal government. We're supposed to be seeing, if I'm not mistaken, we're supposed to be seeing a ruling Monday.
Okay, this is technocracy. This is what this is the agenda of the World Economic Forum is ruled by experts. And so that's what we're seeing, and it's really funny because all of these people, I'm not a big fan of democracy, just because, like, I think that we're surrounded by idiots, and I don't want idiots to make our decisions. But the funny thing is now they
just a note on that. I have one person in my life that I've been trying really hard to have a discussion with, and this person keeps on saying, "Why are you trying to sell your house? It makes no sense to sell your house. You just need to keep your property in order to rent out your land, and then you'll be able to make money by renting out your land." And my response to this person is, I'm trying to sell my property so I can buy 5 houses. Sell one house, buy 5. That means that I can rent out 5 properties instead of one. And this
yeah,
person
this is
keeps on
the
calling me an
same.
idiot.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. But this is the same little kid conundrum of I can give you this bag of candy right now, or I could give you one piece of candy every day. And the little kid always goes for the one bag of candy right now. You know,
No,
it's
not all the little
yeah,
kids, about 90% of the little kids. And then if you can
right,
identify
right,
that 10%, you go, oh, that person, you know, can hold back gratification and is actually willing
right,
to work their ass off, or, you know, at the original, at least wait in order to get gratification.
right. I want it all, and I want it now, and
Yeah,
that
that's the way the
seems to
world works,
be.
dude.
It's a very childish attitude, and it will cause you problems. Backyard's
It
looking
also,
nice.
yes. Well, it's going to look even better once I'm done with this one. This property I stopped working on almost 3 months ago. So we're about 10 months into my other property up in the country in Alabama, and we're 4 days away from putting it on the market, which is awesome. We've
Cool.
literally taken a property, and this is hard work, and this is what the government needs to get out of the way of. We didn't have to pull any permits out of this property. Why? Because it's out in the country. It's out
Oh
away
yeah,
from
that
all the
I
bureaucracy.
I'm looking now, and I'm looking for areas that are small and don't have all these regulations and things like that. I found something, and then it says, I looked deeper into it. I'm really excited about this one property, and I look at it, and it says no livestock, and I don't understand that you can't have things on your property, your choice of things. And I think livestock at this point is about to apply to yard chickens if it doesn't already.
my, my mom had to fight in order to be able to have. She has, I think it's 3 acres. Her house is 3 acres in downtown Alabama, like just outside of the historic district. She's like 3 minutes from me, and she had to fight to be able to have 2 cows, 2 miniature cows. Like they're literally the size of goats. And she had to fight to be able to have those cows. And now I don't think she realizes they're basically going to stop her from having a herd. It's like these are little tiny cows. They're like the size of goats, but she's too close to the town center. I'm going to try to turn her into a libertarian pretty soon. It's been a struggle. Sometimes I feel like I'm winning. Sometimes I feel like I'm losing. But the fact that she wants to have a herd of of miniature cows, I think I'll win her over eventually.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I mean, they're trying to stop her from being able to take care of them, being able to have them. They're not causing any problems.
I think you're gonna have huge problems based off of the stories you've told me about your mom, but that's okay.
It's a step-by-step process on taking a liberal and turning them then into a libertarian. It's a step-by-step process. I'm not even going to talk to her way. I have not mentioned one thing to her or my dad.
Oh right, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. That one's gonna be fun.
but yeah, this over it basically like to tie into the overregulation and to the reason that this is such a victory for libertarian thought and Republican way of thinking and small government. Of course, we're trying to pull the Republicans towards small government, is because this brings it back to a state's value. The closer you can get it to the center, the closer, not the center, that's the wrong way. The closer you can get it to the locality, the more control you have over it, the more say the individual citizen has over it. And that's why I'm so excited about this, and also excited about that guns right case, because we had gun legislation passed on Clarence Thomas's birthday, which was Thursday, and then the government passed legislation on Friday trying to ban guns.
Well, it's not a straight ban, but it's also it's not as teethy as it could be. And I know that this is a problem with the way the government is now, is that we're constantly bombarded. There's just every day there's something new in the news cycle that's intense and crazy, and it's like it's the current thing for all the NPCs, and then they freak out, and then the government gets to overreact to every situation and not scoop up the nuance of everything that came from it. So as you know, the shooting that happened in Uvalde that they've made all of this gun legislation hay out of, we recently found out within the last couple of weeks that it could have been a lot less terrible if the cops had gotten involved sooner, and they just sat outside for over an hour and let it happen. And that's messed up, man. Like,
to me, there's two ideas off of that one, and I'm just curious on your perspective on this. It's really just one idea. If the cops are elected, they're accountable. Why don't we just shift over to more of a sheriff style?
That's what I want. That's what I want. I just I want Old West. I want us all to be lawmen. We'll all carry, and we see something bad going down, we handle it, and that's really the society I want. I know that it's way out there, and that we might not be ready for that just yet, but
the sheriff carries 2 pistols on him, and he has 5 shotguns on his trunk. He sees the school shooting goes down. He walks in. He deputizes the teachers. the teachers in the other rooms, and he says, here's you're deputized. Here's a gun. We're going after that guy. Then they kick down the fucking door,
Right, right.
and the door wasn't even.
Yeah, yeah. And they made up this whole story about some guy trying every key. That whole thing was a lie. The guy lied forever about this thing. He like made up this elaborate lie. Every key. I just kept thinking that please be the one. Yeah, you didn't jiggle the handle, dude. Yeah, right. I'm sorry. This is messed up. That doesn't work that way. The first key you try, you realize that the door's unlocked if you got a set of keys. That's ridiculous. They let that happen, and they let that be a lot worse than it could have been.
I would not. There's different type of doors handles. They don't always turn with the key. The door handle doesn't
Right,
turn with.
right.
To me, they were just too scared to take action. And then that we can tie that back into the water is turning the frogs gay.
Right. Well,
There's a certain level of cowardice that should not exist.
hang on just a moment. Somebody.
You got a lot clearer. Yeah. We'll see if that's the end of the podcast, but I'll at least continue for a little while. But to me, the Roe v. Wade decision was an exceptionally great decision because it returns power back to the states. The states get to make these decisions, and this also allows us to have a more robust debate about what's going on, which is what I want. If you give authority over to your authoritarians, your King Brandons, your rulers, you take away the authority from yourself. You take away the responsibility from yourself, and you just say, "Oh, that person over there, they'll handle it. The government will handle it, and they'll work everything out." And whenever you do that, you don't think about these problems. You don't think critically about what is actually happening. And by bringing it local, it actually allows for us to actually think about these hard discussions. It gives us an opportunity or a more better reason to think about and discuss these topics rather than just, um, give these um, give away our authority to others. It's easier to just say, "Oh, that person over there is taking care of this matter." But whenever we have to be faced with the hard discussion, the hard realities of life, we get more invested. And that's what's necessary in order to be able to create a better society. It's part of the process, and the states getting back this authority is going to be a great win for America, in my opinion. I also still find it very interesting that rather than retreating on the stock market, with the release of Roe v. Wade, the stock market went up 800 points. Normally, investors look at chaos and they run. They try to shelter and protect their money because they think things are going to get bad. Why did it go up by 800 points? That's just weird. And to me, I see a little bit of a golden age. Scott Adams talks about how we're entering into the golden age. And I hope that we're going to get more and more to a place in the upcoming years that our ability to gather and gain knowledge online is going to get us past these worries about federal government and start being able to focus locally and focus on what actually matters. So we're going to be able to get representatives in that actually know what they're talking about because they listen to podcasts, they listen to the collective mind of the internet. There's going to be shifts and changes that happen, and I hope and I pray that with this ruling we're going to see an acceleration into an age where people take on more responsibility rather than sitting around and blaming everybody else for their problems. Um, I'm trying to figure out a good way to wrap that soundbite up because this is off the cusp of my tongue. But there's a shift that's happening right now, and I hope and pray that that shift is moving towards taking on responsibility, not seeking not seeking others, not trying to push the responsibility off on others, but rather taking the responsibility on yourself and saying, I'm the person that's going to make the change that's necessary. And I hope that we're able to push the legislative and the judicial body more and more towards a place to where we are allowed to take on that responsibility rather than pushing that responsibility off onto others. Sorry if I was redundant in that last statement. Grace be with you. This has been Babylon Burn. And for Mud and Andy O, we wish you a wonderful week, and God bless. Bye.